The Goat House is back with score predictions and picks against the spread for the NFC and AFC championship games. We'll take a look at my picks, my scores, picks against the spread, and a couple other bets that you could place here this weekend. Let's take a look. The NFC championship game, Commanders versus Eagles, round 3 to go to the Super Bowl. I actually think this is the toughest game to pick, for me at least, on the entire season. I've been back and forth, and for several reasons, but one, the Commanders are playing great right now. They're getting better. Jaden Daniels is getting better, so maybe a bad time for the Eagles to play them a third time, right now at this part of the season. I think Dan Quinn's doing a phenomenal job drawing things up, different ways to get pressure on defense, and you look at what's going on with the Eagles offense outside of Barkley, they're not playing super great. They did just play in the snow. It's very hard to play football in the snow. Now, the Rams weren't the only team that played in that. The Eagles had to play in it as well. But yeah, I mean, if they get pressure on Hurts, there's been a lot more pressure on him, compared to the past, even though they have a very good offensive line, they could win this football game. And then you factor in, where's Jalen Hurts with his injury right now? Is he not 100%? So I'm kind of waiting. I'm kind of monitoring that situation. If you tell me when we get to game time or just a couple days before that Hurts is definitely not going to be able to run like he normally does, I'm taking the Commanders, because the Commanders could win this game even if Hurts is 100%. But I'd imagine he's going to be good to go. And as much as I love the Commanders right now, what they're doing, and I'm a little underwhelmed outside of Barkley with the Eagles offense, again, the snow game affected them. And the Commanders figured something out offensively last time against the Eagles. Maybe they can continue, even with the turnovers, they still did it. That makes me want to go Commanders, and they're tough to deal with. You can get pressure on Daniels. That's not the end of the play, though, right? There's a lot more. So reasons I want to go with the Commanders, but my brain just keeps telling me what I've always known. If you cannot stop the run, you cannot. If you're poor at it, you cannot win championship football. Now, the Commanders beat the Lions last week, even though Gibbs went crazy on them. They did a good job stopping Montgomery, by the way, so maybe they got something for Barkley. And they still beat the Lions, even though Gibbs went crazy. The Lions defense, they were able to take advantage of. Can they take advantage of the Eagles defense? But yeah, in the past, history shows if you cannot stop the run, or if you're this poor at it, it's very, 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 very difficult to win championship football. And the Eagles have Saquon Barkley, so that could be enough, along with their solid defense. And I'd imagine Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, these guys play a little bit better in this game. So it's a close one. I'm going to go 26-24. I want to have more scoring because these offenses are that explosive, with Barkley and Jaden Daniels, on the field. But a lot of running clock. The Commanders sometimes have long drives. They go for it on fourth down. That could be the difference in this game, too, just converting on fourth down like they have been doing. But and the Eagles are one of the best at rolling clock and limiting their opponent's chances. So if it wasn't for that, probably a bit more scoring. But 26-24 is what I'm feeling. The line started at 4.5. It's going up, went up to 6. People putting money on the Eagles. Also, you see who the ref is. Sean Hockley, the Eagles with Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are 5-0 with him as an official. The Commanders are 1-3, so that doesn't look great. Not that that's everything. That's a little bonus for you. But if it comes out that Hurts, he's definitely not going to be able to play his normal game, I'm going to take the Commanders. I mean, to me, that you almost have to at that point. So, but this is one I've been back and forth on for a bit. What a story it's been for the Washington Commanders, and maybe they're not done yet. For a bet, my favorite one actually has to do with the Commanders. Austin Eckler, 50+ rushing plus receiving. So those two combined together, just 50. You combine the rushing, you combine the receiving, that's plus 100 odds. I think that's phenomenal odds. He didn't play against the Eagles the last time they played. The time before that, he went crazy in the receiving game. He ran pretty well last week. And Brian Robinson Jr. struggled against the Eagles last time. Eagles get into the backfield to stop the run, blow up run plays. I think you're better off going with the shiftier guy that can bounce it outside in Eckler, so that could be the case there. I mean, he can get the 50 receiving, or the 50 yards receiving alone, maybe. But if you combine rushing and receiving, that's pretty good. For the odds right there, plus 100, one of my favorite ones of the week. The AFC title game, I got the Chiefs doing it once again, winning 30-27 in a shootout. And I'll say this, for me right now, the winner of this game, I think, wins the Super Bowl. NFC is a little bit more wide open. Anything can happen. It was a lot of luck involved here and there. For the AFC, you have 3 juggernauts, including the Ravens here. The Bills got by, even looked dominant against at times in the first half. Almost let that game slip away, which is pretty crazy given what was going on. They should extend that lead. But either team can win this game. I'm feeling the Chiefs at home this time of the year. This type of game, Patrick Mahomes, but the biggest difference, because Josh Allen just as good as Patrick Mahomes, the biggest difference for me is coaching. And I'm not going to sit here and say the Bills coaching staff is bad, but I trust the Chiefs on both sides of the ball coaching more than anyone, but significantly more than the Bills. And again, Bills coaching staff, not at all bad. I thought it was bad in the second half of that Ravens game, though. I thought there's no way they should have let that game almost slip. They really almost let it slip away. The way the game went, the mistakes the Ravens were making, they should have closed that game out, won by a bit, right? So the Bills could be outplaying the Chiefs most of the game, and then the Chiefs do make that right decision or make that right play right at the end that wins them the game. I totally can see that in Kansas City. If this is in Buffalo, I'd probably go towards the Bills. I mean, these two juggernaut teams with crazy crowds, that could be the difference here. But I'm going to trust the Chiefs. I'm going to trust them in this atmosphere, this type of game. Patrick Mahomes, this coaching staff, that's where I'm at. I think it's going to be an absolute shootout. The Chiefs' defense is really solid. It's not as good as it was a year ago. But it's solid. Chris Jones, Karlaftis, very underrated. McDuffie, one of the best in football. Spagnuolo is one of the best defensive coaches. But just stopping Josh Allen, and I love the trio of running backs the Bills have. That could be their key to success. Obviously, Josh Allen has to play very well, which he will. But to win the game, he has to play well. But using those backs, get them going underneath in the pass game, but the running game as well. I like Ray Davis a lot. Use him a little bit more. I know James Cook is phenomenal. He struggled against the Chiefs last time, but the rest of the Bills were awesome. That could be their key, but again, I don't think the Chiefs are really going to stop the Bills, but I don't really trust the Bills defense too much either. They're not going to stop the Chiefs. The Chiefs offense is better than everyone thinks. They've gotten a lot better since the last time they played the Bills. People were underwhelmed last week against the Texans. I'll tell you something. The Texans defense, led by DeMeco Ryans, but those elite pass rushers, corners, that was the best playoff defense. That if I had to pick any defense with the coach, I should say is the head coach, but he also calls the defense, I am picking the Texans. So that's why the Chiefs offense maybe was a little underwhelming. They'll have a lot more success against the Bills defense, but just so many weapons you have to account for. Xavier Worthy is really coming along. Hollywood Brown's about to get going. He can do that anytime. Kelsey is a big time problem in this moment. So it's going to be back and forth, high scoring. Who am I going to trust at the end of the game when you have to make that one extra play or one smart decision, whether it's on either side of the ball? You have to say the Chiefs. You have to until someone proves it otherwise. So I will take Kansas City in this one. I love the over, as you can tell. 47.5, that's pretty high, but to me, it's going to go over. I don't see a scenario. Well, I guess the only scenario if there's a lot of running clock, if the Bills are just really pounding the football with those trio of backs, and they're still going to throw, though. Josh Allen's still going to air it out. The Chiefs are one of the only teams in the NFL. They could be up by 30, and they're still throwing the ball. So they're not going to be up by 30 in this game. So I like the over in this one. Everything just says over for me on this one. Back and forth. There's no stopping Patrick Mahomes. There is no stopping Josh Allen. So like that. Something I forgot if I mentioned or not. Something else I'm really looking for. Shakir went off against Chiefs last time. Do the Chiefs take McDuffie, slide him inside where his home is, and man up on him so he's not a problem? Something I'm watching for there. Could be another X factor. So I like the over. I like Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown, over 38.5 yards. He can get that on one catch, and yes, he's been at times a little quiet. They're still mixing him in, but he played a lot of reps last week, and he had a big-time ball down the sideline. He lost it, but that would have hit the over on that alone. But he's playing as much reps as anyone. It's Worthy, and then Hollywood Brown in terms of the receiver position. DeAndre Hopkins is getting less reps. When he was in, they were trying to target him, but he just was not even close to getting separation. So that's a little bit of an issue here. But Worthy more of in the slot, Hollywood on the outside. I think we'll get some separation deep at some point, and they can connect on a couple catches really, and he'll hit that. I like that one a lot. Hit the over on 38.5. But I'll have more props, more bets, more touchdown picks in the locks video, which is usually next Thursday, but also on our Twitter or /X right there. You can go ahead and follow that. Link pinned in the comments for that. But yeah, leaning with the Chiefs, doing it again. I know the Chiefs-Eagles doesn't seem like the most exciting Super Bowl. Maybe it could have just happened. I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun, but Chiefs Command, it's all possible. Chiefs Commanders, Bills Commanders, Bills Eagles. Right when the playoffs started, I predicted Chiefs versus Eagles. I did predictions around week 12, 13, somewhere around there. I had Bills, Eagles. So all of that still in play. The Commanders been a pleasant surprise, but man, they're good. Well coached. Jaden Daniels is awesome, on his way to being elite. I mean, he's playing at that high of a level right now. Another thing I forgot to mention for that game, I totally forgot to mention Samuel Cosmi being out against Jalen Carter, who's been just an absolute animal. That could be an issue as well. But that'll wrap it up for the conference championship picks. We'll do the same thing for Super Bowl picks. We have loads of content on the channel covering playoffs, offseason free agency. We're going to do some trade videos. Recent mock draft went up. We got you covered everything NFL. So join us. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.